Hi everyone, welcome to University Physics 2. This is Calc Base E&M done fully online with Chandler Gilbert. My name is Professor Catherine Roman. I'll be instructing this course. I've been with Chandler Gilbert for a few years now, 3 years, but I've been teaching physics for a lot longer, about 20 years now. So this course is unique that it is one of the few fully online 131 courses offered. With that said, please make sure you have excellent study skills, work ethic, and time management. As I find teaching this class fully online can be challenging for students, especially since we do cover a lot of material that is not as familiar as mechanics is. So it is a little bit easier to have an in-person class. So with that said, I also teach a hybrid version on Wednesdays from 1:30 to 4 at the Williams campus at Chandler Gilbert. So if you're considering possibly doing the hybrid versus fully online, please reach out to me and we can see if that works out for you. All right. Then, as you can see here, when I'm not teaching physics, I like to hike, snowboard. I also paddleboard, kayak, all that, pretty much anything outside. I am located at the Williams campus in Baylor. Number 128 is the office suite that I'm in. If you do come into campus at all, it can be convenient to get face-to-face help a lot of times. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays I'm available at those times in Baylor. And then Tuesday and Thursday evenings online by appointment. Please schedule your appointment in advance, though. Don't jump online at 7 p.m. Because I won't have had that notification that you were looking for an appointment. And that is in our Cisco WebEx link in our Canvas course to make that appointment. So essentially we are doing a week-by-week module. So week 1 is charges and interactions. This first week is a little bit easier, a little light on, I don't even think we have any math in this case, but please don't let that fool you. It's going to increase in intensity, definitely. But I do set up my weeks very similarly with slight changes from week to week, okay? So the first thing in the module is always a notes and lectures. That is a PDF copy of my notes, as well as my own personal lecture that just goes over those notes. And then I have suggested readings as well as suggested other resources. Sometimes some of the content that we're going to be looking at is quite difficult, that, hearing it from multiple sources is a good idea. Your textbook is great, especially that it is free, being in OpenStax, but some chapters are a little bit more challenging than others in your textbook. So in that section, I give you what I think is the best resources, other than just obviously my own lectures. Because once you start Googling this stuff, it's going to get real crazy real quick. Okay, so for instance, week 4 or 5 electric flux, once you start Googling that stuff to try to find some information, it's gonna get very overwhelming. All right, so I really do try to pick and choose resources that I think are going to tailor to what we're doing. All right. A check for understanding is a little practice quiz. That is kind of our basic concepts, and then our expert TA work get into our larger concepts. All right, so expert TA is more of the bigger multiple step problems. I know many of you used it in Physics 121. Okay, so the check for understandings are the ones that I write, and they are, as I said, more one-step problems or concept problems, just things that I would kind of check for understanding if we were in a face-to-face class. And then expert TAs are problems, okay? Labs, depending on the week, we may have 2 small labs, 1 larger lab. Most of them will be simulations. And then we will also do some hands-on circuit building, which hopefully you saw in the syllabus. You will need to pick up a circuit kit. I will have that information next week. We won't start using those circuit kits till week 6, so you've got some time, and I'll give you more details next week. Other things, we may do some textbook questions like week 1. By research paper, I put an asterisk. Really, there's some stuff later on, like some how things work type of presentations you'll do. You're not presenting to the class. It's just finding diagrams and circuit diagrams and explanations of them. Okay, but that'll be more of the second half of class. So our weekly schedule, Monday mornings is day 1 of our week. So I will open that module Monday mornings, and then everything is due Sunday night. I used to have things due throughout the week and it just got complicated. So everything's due Sunday night, but please do not wait till Sunday evening to start that work. As you can see, most of my assigned time to help is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's not to say you can't email me. I'll be more than happy to answer questions. But on the weekends, I'm not always available. I do have some out-of-town trips planned this semester. So try to make sure that you're carving out some time throughout the week to work on this little by little, so it's not as overwhelming, okay? Some of our labs can be long. I tried to make note of that so you can take a look at them first if they're going to be a little bit longer than other weeks. All right, I do put things in what I consider the best order to complete them. However, the whole module is due by Sunday night, so that's up to you, okay? Course breakdown, we have 25% coursework, lab work, quizzes, and exam, okay? Which I'll go over here in a minute. But essentially that's the breakdown of that I do. So our coursework is going to include our expert TA as well as these check for understanding. Okay, these check for understandings are essentially practice quizzes that you can take as many times as you want, and it will keep your highest grade. Okay, so they will always be out of 10 points. And as I said, if you get a 9 and then an 8 and then a 9 and then a 10, it'll keep the 10. It'll keep whichever one is the highest. I often have students go back and use those as study guides for their quizzes. But once that deadline is closed, please don't enter them. Otherwise, it'll be considered late. And it does say here, although they are not due till Sunday, these should be the first things that you do after watching the lecture videos. Because it's, as I said before, it's kind of the easier concepts or the general ideas of what we need to know. Expert TA, you'll need to buy access to that. In my Expert TA, what I do is I have 5 attempts for each question, and you lose 5% each time. However, if you lose even for 1 attempt or 2 attempts, you can submit handwritten solutions for these explanations, kind of like test corrections, but it's Expert TA corrections. You can submit those, and I will give you back that 5% for each attempt. All right, so if you used up all 5 attempts, you just didn't understand, you finally went to the tutoring center or saw me and helped you out, and then you can submit that, and I will give you back that credit. So essentially, if you submit correct solutions, you should always end up with 100% in Expert TA. So a very good opportunity to take advantage of. Labs, I've already kind of mentioned, will be 1 to 2 a week, depending on the size of them. And then lab kits for weeks 6 through either 10 or 11. Okay, so we'll be building circuits with little breadboards. There is an option, I'll have a link if you would rather just purchase the breadboard by yourself or the circuit kit by yourself, or if you've been in another engineering class using a similar kit, that might work as well. So I will give more information. It says week 3, but I may send that out next week. So weekly quizzes. Instead of doing unit tests, I do weekly quizzes. Kind of keeps you on top of your work, and it makes a really good check for understanding in terms of staying on top of things week after week after week. All right. Now, I do use Lockdown Browser. Each quiz has variables that change from version to version or pulled from a test bank. So please make sure that you are doing your own work. You will also have to submit a document afterwards showing your written solutions. So when you go to take your quiz, just be prepared to write down anything, whether it's on a whiteboard, whether it's on a paper, and then submit that. It's not in the quiz, but it's a separate assignment outside of the quiz, so that's not part of the timed. Okay. The other thing I do, because these are formative, they're not summative, it's supposed to give you an idea of what you know and what you don't know, which means if you don't know something, you need to relearn it and try again. This semester, I'm going to do a quiz form that you can fill out and submit to get a retake. All right, so once I have graded them, some weeks I'm on top of it, some weeks I'm a little bit slower, but once I have released the grade so you can review your quiz, then you will have 2 weeks from then in order to request a retake, and that request will be in the form of a Google form. When I release grades, I always send an email through Canvas explaining that those are now released and now you have 2 weeks. So it's not just like you have to pay attention every day. Okay. So there you go. Final exam. This is a big one, guys. You have to take this in person. I do not make any exceptions, and you must pass your final exam in order to get credit. Even if you have a 99% going into it and you don't show up for one of these, you will not get your credit. With that said, most of the time my students who are going in with 99% usually do very well in my exams. Okay, so you must take it in person. I have these 4 times available in May. All right, so for those of you who work or with families or other obligations, there are 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, and 2 in the afternoon. 3 of those are during one of my other courses, and one of them is, that evening one is just on our own. There are some proctoring services. Rio Salado offers one for a charge. I think it's like a $25 fee. And Mesa Community College has been great working with us as well. You can sign up for a in-person proctored exam through MCC as well. So those are options if those 4 times don't work for you. If you have any other conflicts or issues with this, you need to contact me. Okay, but this is a non-negotiable. I do not have an online version. You are taking a in-person paper exam, which you'll need to obviously show your ID to make sure that we know it's you. I have Canvas set up. It's an automatic 10% per day for my late penalty. My quizzes close at 11:59 on the Sundays, so they do not open up. Those close automatically, so please plan accordingly. Okay, and that automatic 10% starts as soon as that clock changes the time. If things are due at 11:59, at 12:01, it's giving late 10% late. So try to manage that. Obviously, if it's late, it's late. 10% is better than 20%. So just watch yourself in terms of if you do end up having to have some late stuff turned in. I do believe that late work is better than no work. So 20% off for 2 days is better than a 0. Because also Canvas will automatically update a 0 if you don't have something turned in. So if you are in Physics 131, you should have taken some calculus and some 121. We're going to use a lot of the math concepts that you've done in 121. Forces we're going to revisit in terms of electrostatic forces. And so I'm going to refer back to some 121, but it is really different content than that. Some things that you may need to brush up on. Obviously, we're doing a lot of graphs again. We're going to do a lot of area and surface area of shapes. I'll present those formulas, but just an FYI, we're going to be discussing some surface area of some like spheres and cubes and stuff like that when we get to some flux, and then some cross and dot products as well. So please do not leave things to last minute. My students who are the most successful in this fully online course are ones that have a schedule and stick to it. Okay, you know every week you're going to have a CFU, you know every week you're going to have an expert TA, and you're going to have 1 to 2 labs at least. All right, so set yourself up, plan it right into your calendar if you use a calendar or a Google Calendar or something. Okay, so please make sure if you're leaving things till Sunday, you're going to be lost. Some of this stuff can be overwhelming, and it's better to do small chunks throughout the week, okay? For instance, if you're training for a marathon, you're not going to go out and run 20-some miles, right? You're going to start slow and build up. So let's do that throughout the week, please. Some of the stuff is going to be challenging. My suggestion is if you get to the point where you're like, I don't even know, walk away, take a break, come back to it, check out the learning centers. All right, we have some tutors. There's a couple of tutors at the Pecos campus and at the Williams campus here at CGCC. Some of them have been in my class, so they know me. They know how I do my courses and my quizzes and they can help you. And then obviously if you're closer to a different campus, they should have tutors in there as well. All right. So I'm going to have a discussion next week that you can volunteer to if you're looking to reach out and work with somebody. Working with a team is always better than working alone, but just keep in mind that all of your work must be your own. Okay, so you can work through problems together, but you're not taking pictures and sending them in. Okay, all right. Please reach out if you have any questions at all. And yeah, I look forward to a great semester.